Audi is one of Germany's top-of-the-class luxury and sports automobile companies. Ever wonder what those four circles on the Audi logo represent? Well, today we are going to look under the hood of the automobile giant and discover the meaning of its iconic logo, and much more. So let's buckle up and dive right in. Before getting into its history, let's start with a fun fact. For all you Marvel fans out there, throughout all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, you can spot Robert Downey Jr. exclusively sporting Audi cars. They even helped Audi custom design the Audi e-tron GT. Now, let's get to the roots of the company. It all started with a man named August Horch. Born in Winningen, Rhenish Prussia, in 1868, he initially was a blacksmith before studying at Hochschule Mittweida Engineering. After graduating, he worked in shipbuilding for a man named Carl Benz. Yes, the founder of Mercedes-Benz from 1896. After which, he decided to pave his own path and started his own company, A. Horch & Co., in November 1899 in Ehrenfeld, Cologne, Germany. He then went on to form the August Horch & C. Motorwagenwerk AG in 1904. This too didn't last long, for soon August went on to found his own company called August Horch Automobilwerke GmbH. It's not just you. The names all sound the same, don't they? Because it didn't take long before August was sued for trademark infringement. Although on a positive note, this got him looking for a new name, something different yet the same. And since his surname was already in use and was protected by a trademark, August was lost. Until one of his business partner's son suggested using the Latin alternative, making Horch or Hark Audi. That very year, August launched his first car, the Audi Type A Sport Phaeton, which was followed by the successor Type B. Now, about a decade later, August left Audi in 1920 for a high position at the Ministry of Transport, but he still kept tabs on the company as a member of the trustee board. The next year, Audi became the first German car manufacturer to present a model that was a left-handed drive, the Audi Type K, in September 1921. Around the same time when the left-hand drive was introduced and established as the new norm to help get a better view of oncoming traffic. But weirdly enough, this new norm created more chaos than calm. People got into more accidents trying to adjust to this sudden change of driving. It actually took a while for the population to get the hang of it. Now getting to the story behind the Audi logo, which came about after the merger of four companies. It started in 1928 when engineer Jürgen Rasmussen bought the majority share in Audi and soon took it to the next level by merging it with Rasmussen's DKW and Audi's old competitor, Horch, to form the Auto Union in 1932. This merger led to creating the four interlocking rings logo that we are all so familiar with today. Funnily enough, those rings were often mistaken for the Olympics logo, and when the committee heard about it in 1995, they took Audi to court. But fortunately, the court declared that the Audi rings have no relation to that of the Olympics, allowing both of them to coexist peacefully. With that, their focus shifted to improving their technology. Audi was one of the first companies to use a six-cylinder engine in its signature model in the European market. All of this came to a complete standstill as the Second World War broke out. All the factories had to stop producing consumer vehicles and turn to produce armored vehicles for the German army. Like multiple other automobile companies in the country, the Allied forces bombed their factories to weaken the German armies. After the war ended, Audi struggled to get the factories back up and running and was highly determined to restart its manufacturing process sooner than most. The company soon found their Zwickau factory deep inside the Soviet-influenced GDR, and the Auto Union was no longer a functioning entity. Slowly, the factories were dismantled as a part of the war reparations under the orders of the Soviet military. In August 1948, Auto Union AG was deleted from commercial register. essentially liquidating Germany's auto union. But don't worry, that wasn't the end. The auto union executives looked at relocating what they had left of the company to West Germany, setting up a spare parts operation in Bavaria. Interestingly, the factory in Zwickau restarted assembly in 1949 and created cars for East Germany. It was this very factory in which the Trabant was created, which was considered the symbol of East Germany and the fall of the Eastern Bloc. It was uncomfortable, noisy, slow, and extremely desirable to most people there. The waiting time for the Trabant was more than a decade. Over 3 million of these were produced in total. A new West Germany headquartered auto union was launched in Ingolstadt with loans from the Bavarian state government and Marshall Plan Aid. The reformed company was launched on 3rd September 1949 and continued DKW's tradition of producing front-wheel drive vehicles with two-stroke engines. It was only a decade later when an investor had the funds to construct a major car plant. Daimler-Benz, yes, Benz as in Mercedes-Benz, took an 87% holding in the auto union and increased this to 100% in 1959. But small two-stroke cars weren't in their interest, and the company's aging range didn't benefit from the boom of the 1960s the same way their competitors did, so they disposed of it. Although by this time, Auto Union had a large factory and was ready to start production of four-stroke engines and prepare itself for the period of growth. In 1964, Volkswagen acquired a 50% holding in the company. Finally, 25 years later, the Audi name was resurrected in 1965. This same year, Volkswagen also acquired the remaining 50% holding in the company. The first generation Audi 80 was launched in 1972, and the resurrection of the Audi name was officially complete. What followed was the succession of four-stroke models 60, 75, 80, and Super 90. However, the Auto Union engineers developed the first Audi 100 in secret and were a bit skeptical when it was shown to Volkswagen. Luckily for them, Heinz Nordhoff, the Volkswagen chair, was highly impressed with it and called for car production, which when launched in 1968 went on to be a huge success. With this, the Audi brand's resurrection was now complete. This being followed by the first generation Audi 80 in 1972, which would in turn provide a template for Volkswagen's new front-wheel drive water-cooled range, which ultimately debuted from the mid-1970s onward. For the next 15 years, Audi went on to be very successful, but after a while, Audi cars came to be known as conservative, so the company decided to make some changes. Audi then started the development of a new rally racing car with four-wheel drive technology. In 1980, Audi introduced the Audi Quattro, a turbocharged coupe that had great success in rallying and claimed and maintained several world records, some of them for top speed endurance. In 1986, Audi got into a bit of a controversy. A top-rated TV show called 60 Minutes aired an episode featuring 6 people who had sued Audi because one of their cars, the Audi 5000, was suffering from unintended acceleration. This unintended acceleration was linked to 6 deaths and 700 accidents between 1982 and 1987. The backlash from this began to cast a negative image over the brand. Audi investigated the matter though, only to realize that the 60 Minutes broadcast had actually engineered the failure themselves. Another investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration found that most unintended acceleration cases were caused by driver error. While there was a mild defect found in the idle stabilizer system, it caused only a minor acceleration. This, in turn, caused the driver to panic, which contributed to the severity of the incident. The company's official name was shortened to Audi AG, their first steps towards the luxury market. Through the early 1990s, Audi began to move its target market upscale to compete against German automakers Mercedes-Benz and BMW. This began with the release of the Audi V8 in 1990. It was essentially a new engine fitted to the Audi 100 200. but with noticeable bodywork differences. Most obvious was the new grille that was incorporated into the bonnet design. Audi's sales grew strongly in the 2000s, with deliveries to customers increasing from 653,000 in the year 2000 to 1,003,000 in 2008. China in particular has become a key market that developed their cars, as Audis have become the car of choice for purchase by the Chinese government for their officials. Audi saw record sales in May 2011 and produced vehicles in 7 countries across the world. That pretty much brings us to the present day. Audi is internationally known as a prestige brand. The firm has continued to develop innovations such as diesel technology, aluminum bodies, the Multitronic Continuously Variable Transmission or CVT, and unique SUVs. This innovation has contributed to a resurgence in the American market and success on the racetrack, including 7 world records. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm, so more people can see our videos and so that you can be notified when we launch our next video. We try and put out at least one new one per week, and as you can imagine, the research and editing alone of these type of videos takes us close to 18 hours. So we would really appreciate it if you could also check out our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can support our work. We produce over 12 videos per month, so that is literally 8 cents per video. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at our next unmasking.